So we are now live streaming, just so you know, we'll wait one more minute to see if anyone else is joining us, and we'll commence. Okay, we're going to begin, Mayor Edie. I think if we could ask the other council members that aren't on video to enable their video, we'll get going.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Okay, hearing none, I guess we'll ask for the calling of the roll, please.
Thank you. Mayor Edie?
Present.
Reeve Eamon?
Present.
Councillor Koulis? Councillor Evans?
Present.
Councillor Hines?
Present.
Councillor Jamison? Councillor Sydney?
Present.
We do have a quorum, Mayor Edie, and I didn't hear from either Councillor Koulis or Councillor Jamison, so.
No, neither did I. I did ask for a declaration of pecuniary interest that was out of order there, but didn't hear any, so I guess we're okay there. Then we get to the first motion, which would be that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held August 17th, 2021 be adopted as printed. Move over on that, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Evans. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Okay. That the minutes of the Planning Advisory Committee meeting held August 11th, 2021 be received. Over, please. Councillor Sydney, seconded by Councillor Hines. Turn over to Councillor Hines for the report. You're on mute, Councillor Hines.
All right, this was our planning meeting. Just a second here. I'll have the sorts here with my report. This is our planning meeting from August the 11th, and basically we dealt with two applications that were before us. D11-136, which dealt with 541 Lisgar Avenue, and the second one being D11-137, 611 Lisgar Avenue. And both of these applications, they were looking for site plan approval, and in regard to the building of some storage units on both of the locations. And after discussion, both the applications are recommended to go forward to council, and you will probably see them at your next council meeting. Then we dealt with, we had a verbal update from Planner Withers, as we always do, in regard to several new applications for site plan approval or zoning bylaw amendments, applications coming to the committee in September. He's working very hard on those. Lots of activity in the planning department. And then on 9.2, we discussed the role of the Property Standards Committee. There seemed to be some confusion about how that worked. So based on Schedule E of the procedural bylaw 34/2011, the role of the Property Standards Committee is as follows. Property Standards hears appeals from an owner or occupant who has been served with an order due to a non-adherence to the property standards bylaw and who is not satisfied with the terms or conditions of the order. On an appeal, the committee has all the powers and functions of the officer who made the order. The committee may confirm, modify, or rescind the order to demolish or repair or extend the time to comply with the order. If, in the committee's opinion, doing so would maintain the general intent and the purpose of the bylaw and of the official plan or policy statement. Meetings are held as required. So we don't have those come up all the time. In the event that a property standards order is appealed to the Property Standards Committee, the committee has the direct authority to uphold, reserve, or change the terms of the order. All property standards complaints should be directed to our bylaw enforcement folks, and that's the municipal bylaw enforcement company that we have engaged to look after our, maintaining our bylaws. Only appeals made by the property owner are to come before the committee. And the committee being the Committee of Adjustment Committee, the Planning Committee, and the Property Standards Committee. So the folks, Mayor Edie, myself, Merv Beckstead, Andy Bolt, Adam Laviolette, are the folks that sit on that, on all three of those committees. So at times they somewhat overlap, but there certainly is a clear distinction when it comes to property standards. So we just wanted to ensure that we were following what was the intent of the property standards, because we've had a few things come before us, and kind of had to refer them to the bylaw enforcement officer to deal with, and then they seem to be resolved. We didn't have anything come back to us so far. Our next meeting is Wednesday, September the 7th. And if you're interested, I would encourage you to join us. If you're interested in doing that, you need to contact the Development and Works Department and speak to Carolyn or Planner Withers, and they will ensure that you get the link to be part of our meeting.
Okay.
And
Any
that's
questions?
my report.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Next is the minutes of the Fire Emergency Management Committee meeting held on July the 20th, 21 be received. Mover, please. Reeve Emo, second by Councillor Hines. I'll turn it over to Reeve Emo for the reports, and he chaired that meeting.
Thank you.
Your Worship. I can report to you and to council that we held a meeting on July the 20th at 2 p.m. It was an electronic meeting. And I'll draw your attention to number 5. RC Fireworks joined the meeting, and we had a discussion about bylaw 22/2005, the fireworks bylaw. And the owner reviewed his experiences of the past summer along with his plans for the upcoming year. And we committed to taking a look at the bylaw again this fall to see if there were some changes that could be made. I'm sorry, my screen moved on me. And yeah, well, there it is. I'll draw your attention to number 7.1. We tabled the Fire Association's communications with regards to a vehicle until the next meeting. It's a matter of storing their vehicle in the municipal hall. And moved through new and unfinished business. The priorities were revisited with no changes. And then again, there was no further discussion on the fire master plan and tiered response. And with that, we adjourned. That's the report, Your Worship.
Okay. Any questions or comments on it? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
And if you might, if we could have Chief Welch just give a quick review of the fire activity report for June of 2021.
I was just going to do that. Thank you. Chief Welch, you want to give that report?
Thank you, Your Worship, and Acting Chair Emo for the opportunity. We'll just take a quick look at the call activity for July. We did have 2 fire or pre-fire conditions in our area. We had 2 assistants to other agencies, basically our locked door entry responses to assist the paramedics. And we did have a number of alarm activations, most of which were a result of a malfunction or as a result of an accidental activation. So the time during the summer, it sees us in what we are blissfully provided with is a quieter time. Most people are enjoying the outdoors and not having the dangerous circumstances. We don't have heating appliances supplementing our danger to the home. So everybody seems to be in fairly good stead. We did have a total of 12 calls for the month compared to last year at the same time where we had 15 calls. And our total call volume for the year at the end of the month of July is 106 compared to 84 for the previous year. We'll see for those that have an opportunity to look at it, the hours associated with some of the activities, 132 hours for training. The largest second activity that we've been involved with is the water sales. We have about 103 hours associated with being involved with water sales, supplying construction companies in our immediate town activities and also activities associated with surrounding communities. So we were able to sell 3 recreational burn permits during the month of July as compared to 10 for the previous year, bringing our year-to-date total to 64 in contrast to the total sales for the entire year of 2020 of 45. So if there are any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Hearing none. Was there a report there for the month of May as well, or?
Your Worship, I believe that the combined May-June meeting was presented at the end of July for the meeting that we had then.
I'm sorry, I did have a question. Would you expand a little bit on what they call a spill gas or fuel? Is that natural gas or is that a?
No, those typically are spills associated with petroleum products, whether they be oil or whether they be gasoline. I apologize for not having the specifics associated with the specific event, but I think those would have been more a situation at a property or at a gas station where there would have been either an overflow or an issue where there would have been some work being done on a private property where we had to respond to those.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. No further questions. Do we need a motion to accept the report, Clerk Comer, or just take it as it is?
No, we don't need a separate motion for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next motion, Chief Librarian Thompson report dated August 25th, 2021, concerning request for funding be received. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Sidney. And any questions or comments on this? I see Chief Librarian Thompson's with us. Do you want to give a short report on it? You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
So we are looking to apply to Infrastructure Canada for the Green and Inclusive Community Buildings grant. Part of that application process is to get a RET screen, which measures energy savings that could potentially happen. So they look at what we do now and then they compare it to what could be saved. And we also need to at least be in the process of a public consultation. So those two things were not they've kind of come up out of nowhere. So we are requesting, and I had taken it to finance as well, and asking if we could possibly use funding from development charges to cover the costs of that. The estimate for the RET screen is $5,000. And the estimate for the public consultation process is $9,700.
Okay, any questions on this? Okay, not hearing any, so all in favor of accepting the report? All right, thank you. The Renfrew Town Council approved the request from the Renfrew Public Library for the use of development charges to cover the cost of public consultation and energy modeling with red screen for the total of $14,700 excluding HST. I need a mover on that, please. Councillor Revimo, seconded by Councillor Sydney. Again, any questions or comments on this? Revimo, and then Councillor Hines.
Thank you. I think it's an excellent use of the funds. And I think the RET screening, I've seen it with other projects, and it's a very effective means of identifying some potential for improvement at the very minimum. And I think it'll benefit us even if that's all that ends up being the product of this effort is that screening document. So it's a good move strategically and also for operationally.
Okay, Councillor Hines.
I was just basically going to say the same, and I did have the opportunity to read some information in regard to the RET screening. I believe the mayor received the information and forwarded on to the departments, and the library picked up on that to be able to apply for this grant. And I think also that it's a very good use of the funds. So although there's no comment that we didn't really have a financial comment, the finance committee, oh, I see a committee review. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at the report that came to finance. Sorry, got these two mixed up, but we did certainly support the recommendation that the fees be used for that. So I'm very pleased with that. Thank you, Kelly, for the copy of that.
I have a question on this, and it may be a stupid question. My technology is not 150%, but the red screen, can that be moved from one department to another? We say your public works want to use it, or we want to use it at the town office. Can that be moved around, or does it just have to be stationary?
Yeah, it's just a program where they, my understanding, and Revimo may have a better knowledge of it, but it's my understanding that they take all kinds of different readings and calculations, plug it into a program, and then come up with a profile just for that. It's per project.
I say, okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
If I could, Mayor Edie, I guess you can't see me. I just want to interject that we did look at the development charges reserve summary today, and there is approximately $36,000 in the library services that have been carried at the end of 2020. So there is sufficient funds to draw the $14,700 applicable to this motion from the library component of the development charges fund.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, all in favor then? All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Renfrew Town Council, pursuant to section 18.2 of the procedural bylaw, approve the addition of the following urgent and time-sensitive matter to this agenda. Submission of funding application under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICIP, Green Stream Intake 2. Over, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Sydney. Any questions on this? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. The director asks them to be heard before council to provide information on the ICIP Green Stream Intake 2 grant program, provide a summary of eligible projects considered, and obtain council feedback and endorsement on a proposed application to be submitted prior to the September 9th deadline. Over, please. Councillor Hines, second by Reeve Emo. Turn it over to Director Asselin for the report. We're not hearing you, Director Asselin. Still not hearing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're mixing up microphones here.
You just have to speak loud.
Thank you, Mayor Edie and Council for entertaining this item. The Ministry of Infrastructure through the Honorable Candace Samura has introduced a new funding program, and it's the ISIF Green Stream Intake number 2. And we received an email on August 9th opening up applications. And the application is due September 9th, 2021, which does not leave a lot of time to submit. And I'm hearing quite an echo, so hopefully you don't hear the echo on your end.
We are.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
perhaps you can turn
we-
your volume down.
okay.
We'll try to correct this in a moment.
Okay.
Okay, your microphone's on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You're gonna,
Okay, so
get enough
I'll try my best to work through it. So this funding application is very, very specific to water main improvements that relate to health and safety risks. And if I can ask Clerk Palmer, I did circulate a brief document to you today that sort of summarizes many points. So I can ask him to bring that up, and we'll work through it.
just put it up.
Okay, thank you, Kim. So as indicated, the new program has come out, the applications will be September 9th. The stream is concentrated on providing water funding to address health and safety issues related to the water system. So I'll ask you to go to page 2, Kim. The maximum eligible funding or the maximum eligible project cost for the application is $5 million. So they're saying water main improvements up to $5 million will be considered eligible. And then the $5 million will then be broken down in funding by the province at 33%, the federal government at 40%, the municipality at 26.7%. So up to a maximum of a $5 million total eligible project cost. And any work that is not associated with water mains would be 100% the municipality's cost. And any costs in excess of $5 million that we apply for would also be 100% of the municipality's cost. So I did speak to the chair of Development and Works to determine if the municipality or if the committee chair felt that we should submit an application that maximizes the amount of potential funding we can get. My thought is that this application process is not likely to be heavily subscribed to because of the very, very short time frames involved. It's going to be difficult for most municipalities to prepare an application in the time frame that is required to meet project requirements. So having said that, we were not successful on the Green Stream Intake 1 project, which was Monroe Perry. And we have been successful in other major projects being Mattaway expansion recently. So that may be a factor in awarding this intake 2. So anyway, we're looking to have council consider a project for application. And we did look at a couple. So if you scroll down, Kim. So candidate projects, that meet the criteria is a new mixing system for the water tower. But that project is estimated to cost $300,000, so it would be a very minor funding component, and we wouldn't be maximizing the funding that was available. The other project that we considered for application, and the chair was very supportive of this, is undertaking water main cast iron pipe replacement on Argyle Street and Lockheil Street and the interconnecting streets between Argyle and Lockheil, a portion of Opeongo, and a portion of Hall Avenue. So all of those streets have small diameter cast iron water mains, and which meet the criteria. And some of the health and safety aspects of those small cast iron pipes, like sort of summarize them here, is poor water quality. So any groundwater complaints that we get in the system is usually a result of the cast iron water mains. We have decay of chlorine residual in the distribution system, which causes some concerns around compliance with our minimum chlorine residuals in our system, especially at dead ends. The corrosion within the cast iron mains also diminishes the hydraulic capacity of the water mains, so you can't put as much water through when fighting fires. The old water mains, being cast iron, is the age where the services, there could be lead services to the households, so that creates some concerns as well. Corrosion reduces the pipe material thickness, and the types of breaks and water main breaks that we have are often associated with the cast iron, which is corroded, so reducing the wall thickness of the cast iron. There's many subtle road cuts within these streets that we mentioned, and that's a result of fixing water services and fixing water main breaks in the area. There's many cast iron mains under the collector roads, like Argyle and Lockheil, being the older roads in the community. And when we look at the inside of the water main, of a turbidity-related cast iron water main, this is a photograph from a water main in Renfrew, and it seems shocking, but it's very typical of water mains of this age, where the barnacles that are created in the inside is a form of corrosion, and it's quite common. And those barnacles sometimes break off or become debris, which then imparts a color, a brown rust color in the water, which is a concern. So if we look at the project as it relates to meeting the health and safety criteria, I think there's a really good fit with these water mains. As well, if you look at the condition of the roads that we've mentioned as candidates for this project, they're also in poor condition. So it's been discussed several times at development works that these roads need to be shaped and paved at minimum, and sidewalks repaired and replaced. So we're proposing to submit an application to maximize the $5 million in eligible project cost. And the little breakdown here with the federal government in a maximum grant situation would pay 40%, and that would be $2 million. The province would pay 33.33%, which is 1.67 million, and the municipal share would be 26.67, which is 1.33 million dollars in funding. Now, if we pick the street like Argyle or Lockheil and we're replacing the water main, that sort of replaces about a 4.5 meter strip of asphalt on the road. So the approach that we're taking is that at the same time as an ineligible cost, we would be choosing to shave and pave the remainder of the road, okay, so, and replace sidewalks that need to be fixed. And so at the end, we would have a new water main replacement with a reinstated road over the water main, and the remainder of the road would be shaped and paved and reinstated along with the sidewalks to essentially give you a road that would last another 15 to 20 years without further intervention. I do outline here on this next page, which is page, Kim's already added actually, page number 4. So the ineligible parts of the work are to repair manholes and CV frames and covers, to replace defective sidewalks, address any serious drainage problems. So we did walk the area and it's pretty well drained. There might be some work on some catch basins and some storm sewers in the area, but to a minor extent. And to shave and pave the remainder of the road and correct the grade and provide the service. So the cost of the ineligible components is 100% the town's responsibility. And that total cost associated with that is just over $2 million for ineligible costs. So we're looking at a project of maximizing our $5 million in water main work, which would be, the town's portion would be funded under the water fund. And the ineligible cost, which is $2 to $2.5 million, would be funded through wastewater charges, as well as shave and pave programs and other allowances that we have in our capital budget for infrastructure projects going forward. Now, the timing of this project is such that we must begin the work by September 2022. So that's likely to be design work starting at that time. And the construction must be complete in October of 2026. So the logical time frame is to design it in 2022, to construct it in 2023 to 2025, and have it complete in 2025. Now, this is a lot to take on, but it's a very, very significant project. And if we scroll down to the next page, Kim. Okay, this drawing here is an excerpt of our road condition index mapping. So the purple areas you can see is Plant Street and the Main Street, and the purple areas have been reconstructed recently. Veterans Memorial Boulevard's been reconstructed. The roads that we're choosing now are the Argyle and Lockheil. Anywhere where the road is purple, we would not do any work in those areas because they've been recently reconstructed. So we would do the areas which are yellow, and yellow, according to our index, is a road that's in fair condition. So that's right next to fair/poor. So it's in need of intervention now. You can see that we also, the portion of Hall Avenue from Plant to the Algonquin Trail, that's also yellow or in fair condition. And anybody who's driven down Hall Avenue recognizes that it's in require of some kind of intervention as well. So the advantage of choosing these roads is that they do have small diameter cast iron water mains underneath that comply with the criteria of the grant, and also are in need of intervention. And you can see as well, if you project that, once these roads are done, you can color them purple, and you're naturally expanding the area of your urban core that is in good condition. So I guess what we're looking for is, obviously we have our engineers who are working very, very aggressively to finalize cost estimates. I think we're quite certain that the cost will be in the order of $5 million for the water main work for the areas we've defined, plus about $2.5 million in other work. And my feeling is that looking at the funding sources like the federal gas tax money, the shape and pave programs that we've identified, and also the road infrastructure money that's included in the capital plan from taxation, can easily fund this project in the time frame that the project is going to be delivered in. And it would be a significant advancement of our asset management plan. in replacing water mains and rehabilitating roads. And we're looking for council's, I guess, support in submitting an application to the Ministry of Infrastructure for this water main project and the associated roadworks. If we go down a little bit, we do have, okay, go down another page. We do have some information, you know, approximate costs, and we're still refining these numbers, but I think the latest values were in the order of about you know, over $2 million for the ineligible cost. We're sort of around that $500,000 for the eligible cost, and you can see that number, that 1 point, or the 5,990 includes $700,000 in contingency funds at this point. So that was our first crack at it. We got another refinement that brings that number closer to 5 million. And the number in ineligible costs is probably going to float between $2 and $2.5 million. Okay, if we can scroll down again, Kim. Okay, this is just sort of maps that show the cast iron water mains in their locations, and anything that's colored in blue will essentially be replacements. So there's going to be replacements on essentially half of the road. And so that once we replace the water main on one half of the road, then the other half of the road is going to need some kind of work to make it look like a finished road in the end. The town has been replacing sidewalks on Argyle and portions of Lockheil over the past several years. And we walked the site, determined which sidewalks could be left that are in good condition. And the project would include replacing the ones that are in poor condition. Okay, and if you continue to scroll down, we have sort of similar diagrams. Maybe, yeah, freeze right there, Kim. So another element of this project that is very positive is the Opiongo section. We can see that there's water main replacements proposed from Argyle, which is where we finished off the downtown work, around that corner to Bonachere Street, and I think it's Bonachere Street South, I believe. So this section of road is in very, very bad need of realignment, especially around the connection to the Millennium Trail. And you know, Reeve Emo drives that section every day, and I'm sure has run over that sidewalk a million times in the corner. So the opportunities there to realign that corner and maybe perhaps use some lands beyond the gate that we have just on the south side of Opiongo near Smith Street, and to really make an improvement of that corner at the same time. So that would be included in this project as well. So I know this is a lot of information. We are working very, very aggressively to put a very solid application together. And as we indicated to council, some of the options are that number one, we do not apply, in which case then we can stop doing the work right now. But we won't have any benefits from that approach. The second approach is to try to reduce the cost of the project or apply for something less than the maximum eligible funding through the program. And I guess that's the choice of council, or the other option is to support the application as we presented it and try to maximize the amount of funding we get in water main. And then, you know, the painful part is that we will have to apply some funds of our own to complete the shave and pave of the remainder of the road and fix the sidewalks. But we think that is manageable. If you look at the overall cost, we would get over 50% funding for the entire works that we're undertaking through the program. And again, you know, are we certain we're going to get funding? No. Do we have a solid case for an application that fits the criteria? I'd say yes. And looking at the pictures of the water mains, cast iron water mains do need to be replaced. They're aged. And they do contribute to a lot of the complaints that we get. So I guess I'd be prepared to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Okay, Councillor Hines.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Aslin, in regard to your report. Very detailed, and I'm very happy to move with it. Where we are at, we are always talking about doing shave and pave, and this is an opportunity to actually get in there and do some of that work, and an opportunity to have this funded. And as you say, I think this is pretty detailed, what you presented this evening, and I believe we got an email with that in it. And I think that it has a good chance of getting the maximum funding because of the detail that you've provided, and as you say, the short timeline, and we already have a lot of that work done. And I think the opportunity to replace those cast iron pipes is really important. And at some point, we're going to have to do it anyways. So I think this is the opportunity that we can apply for this grant and move forward with this. So I'm quite interested in applying for the maximum amount, and also with the opportunity to redesign that curb on going to Opeongo. I do drive over that sidewalk myself. Hopefully I haven't driven over anybody. Anyway, that's a good opportunity to be doing that. So I'm very much in support of this, and I appreciate the detail that you've provided.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Revimo.
Thank you. Just a few quick questions. Generally, I support this. I think you have to be aggressive in replacing infrastructure. So my impression is that the roadways will get 15 years approximately out of them with the refurbishment, and then the pipes, am I thinking 50 to 75 years in the ground, or are they indefinite?
You're on mute. You're on
There.
mute.
Sorry, the PVC water mains that will replace the cast iron will likely be in the order of 100 years.
Okay.
We would replace the valves and the hydrants as well. The parts that we do shave and pave, we're anticipating, because it is a shave and pave, that the cracks will telegraph through the road surface, and we'll be doing crack sealing within 5 years.
Yeah.
But overall, the pavement structure should definitely last 15 years.
Okay, thank you. And your worship, I have two other questions, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. And so the pipes that are proposed to be replaced, were they part of the lead? I remember we had a lead testing program where did we have results from them? Are they the ones that were of significance for us?
Actually, when it comes to the lead, the lead services, we're very, very fortunate in Renfrew that the chemistry of the water produced at the water plant is such that it does not leach out lead out of the system. So we have done extensive lead testing over the years, which originated out of the work that was done out of London that raised concerns across the province. So our lead testing has not shown that we do have a concern with lead leaching out of our system into the drinking water, although there is lead pipes there. I think the best practice is when you encounter lead pipes, which is typical of the age of these services, that you do remove them and replace them with some other materials. So that's what we're doing, but we do not have a lead concern. Actually, we've been granted relief from further lead testing because of our results. And it very much depends on the source water. Like our water is drawn from the Bonnechere, and with the chemistry in our treatment process, it's such that it does not leach out lead. Other communities, even adjacent communities, draw from a different water source and do have concerns with the lead. So we'll replace them because it's the right thing to do when we're down there replacing the water main.
Perfect, thank you. Because I think I'm glad for the fulsome explanation, because I think when people hear lead and water, obviously, they start to think the most negative. So that's nice to hear, reassuring. So with this system that's being replaced, and the previous slide, I think you colored them yellow that we weren't touching. To my recollection, these are when this is done, that quadrant with the yellow are probably the most highly used or the largest portion of our distribution. Would that be fair to say that?
The yellow parts of the map relate to roads that are in poor condition or in fair condition, which is next to poor. So the system with the small diameter water mains is kind of choked off hydraulically. You know, the minimum standard nowadays is to put a water main that is 6 inches in diameter or 150 millimeters. The water mains that we're replacing are 100 millimeters, plus with the circulation, they have less capacity than that. So we are replacing the water mains with higher capacity water system, which will help fire flows and fire protection. But the road sections are the yellow, and those yellow roads will be then converted to purple roads, which are newly reconstructed and in good condition, and we can forget about them for a while. The criticism from the public will be, you know, that we continue to focus on our downtown urban core, which happens to be the highest volume traffic that we do experience. So, you know, we are continually making progress on the higher traffic roads, and eventually, and that, you know, the time is coming soon where we will be able to start focusing on the local roads out in the other parts of the community. But it will be a criticism likely that we hear that we're doing too much work in the urban core and not enough work out in the local streets out in the community. But I think this project is being selected because it best meets the criteria of the grant program. If we did apply for other streets, we would be likely to be less successful.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, it does. Yeah, thank you.
Overall, the complaints I get for the most part, most complaints I get in Renfrew streets is Argyle Street, and the second most complaints I get is Hall Street. So having them two taken care of, and of course, I get complaints on a lot of different streets, but them are the two that I get the most of. Yeah, any further questions? Review.
Thank you. And through you to Director Esselin. How will this impact our asset management plan? You know, because I think some of these projects will be accelerated, and will we be able to maintain the fiscal framework, or will this cause us to have to rejig it and have a lull in 2 or 3 years down the road?
Looking at the funding sources, I think it's sustainable. What may happen is there are other projects that we put out on the radar in our capital plan, like Hall Avenue Extension. There's a Mattaway Link Road to Opiongo. I think we'll have to look at budget time, how those projects fit into our commitment with this funding application, and do we have to shift 1 or 2 of those projects around a year or 2 to make it work. But certainly, I think as we hear more on the province's commitment to the OSA funding and the formula-based funding, that would make a big difference. It's $800 and some thousand per year, and that would easily fund this project in a couple of years. So I think once we know that federal gas tax commitments are continuing, so that could be a funding source. We know we have $500,000 in shave and pave that's uncommitted, so we can use it targeting those funds for the program, because it is shave and pave type programs that we're using our money for. There are funds in the water fund and the sewer fund for infrastructure improvements, and we can make sure we maximize that, as well as development charges. We're now collecting a significant amount of money in development charges for growth, and in this case, we're upsizing the water mains to give the overall system greater capacity. So that's an eligible funding source as well. So I think we're going to be okay, but it just has to be worked into the capital plan, the 10-year capital plan.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next motion is that Renfrew Town Council endorse and support the submission of an application under their ICIP Green Stream Intake 2 grant program to the maximum amount of 5 million for water main replacement on Argyle, Keel, portions of Opiongo, Prince, Patrick, and Hall, with the municipal contribution being 26.67 of eligible works. And further, Renfrew Town Council, the Renfrew Council support the inclusion of ineligible costs to shave and pave the remainder of the project area and to replace curbs and sidewalks to be funded 100% by the municipality. Over, please. Okay, Councillor Evans, second by Councillor Hines. Okay, any further questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Well, Councillor Evans got frozen, so I presume he was in favor. Okay, there he is. Okay, motion passed. The Renfrew Town Council convened in closed session for the following matters pursuant to Section 239 Municipal Act 2001. Pursuant to Section 239(2)D of the Municipal Act 2001, labor relations or employee relations, more specifically as it relates to human resources services for the town. Mover, please. Revimo, second by Councillor Sidney. All in favor? We're now in closed session.